back to another episode of Bad Catholic Dads. This is episode 13, and we're going to be talking a little about E3. So my name is Derek Rogers. I'm here with Agent Zero himself, John Perez.
No. Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Dude, can you hear me? We're good?
I can hear you. We're good.
All right, we're good. We had a couple technical difficulties when we started, but we're here, and we're excited to be here this week.
Yeah, man. Hey, guess what? We don't have a kid yet.
No kid yet. Last episode, didn't we say, like, this could be the last episode? So I'll say it again, Derek. This could be the last episode.
This has to be it.
Kid.
This has
to be it. Your due date's what, today or
Today.
Oh, man. But I read somewhere that your wife always goes past her due date?
Yeah, so we have to have an induction date, which is going to be sad.
No, really?
Well, yeah, if it goes too late, because I have to leave for
yeah.
like work camp stuff. It's
That's true. That's true. But like tomorrow, maybe.
Hey, I'm hoping for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a great day for it.
Tomorrow.
We want to apologize for the listeners who are waiting on Monday morning and they didn't get a podcast. We're sorry, but we're here now. We're all good now.
We are here now.
So the one thing we want to talk about this weekend is E3. And John, can you explain to our listeners that don't know? I would assume most of them know what E3 is, but can you explain to them what E3 is?
So E3 is this worldwide event in Los Angeles. It's a video game event. It's to the community, to the world, I guess. It's just a conference. It's like a conference where a lot of games are shown, new games or games that have been announced but are kind of get an update, like what's going on with the games. But really, I don't know if people know this, little known fact. It's actually a event put on by companies, video game companies, for their shareholders and investors, and kind of the biggest networking video game convention in the world. But for us as fans, it's a great time for us to just watch trailers and be excited about video games. So it's cool.
Yeah, I've never been to one. Have you been to one before?
I have not. A couple friends are there right now, but
that's
no,
pretty awesome.
I have not. Definitely dreaming to go.
What is it? E3 stands for what? Electronic Entertainment Expo?
I think
that be correct?
That sounds about right.
That sounds pretty close.
That sounds close.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Hey, so we've seen, I think, parts of the PC stuff. We saw Xbox, Microsoft, and then we saw Sony's press conference. What did you think about all of them?
I thought, to be honest with you, I'm kind of down on this year's E3.
Yeah, I agree.
I've definitely seen way better E3s in the past, and especially the past couple of years, we've been kind of spoiled with amazing E3s from all companies. This year's, I feel like it was a little bit tempered, but still a fun time to just like watch and be excited.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing now with the technology that we have on Twitch or on YouTube. They have live streams of all this stuff, and you could just watch some of these press conferences, which are really cool because some of them have gameplay from the games that are coming out this year or 2018. And then they have cinematics from some of the games too. And they were showing some of the VR stuff for Sony. And there was a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I enjoyed a lot of it. I saw a Bad Catholic Dad's game out there. I saw God of War, that whole, I was laughing. I'm like, well, I don't know if that would fit in with
the dad thing. Oh
yeah, it's like the father and his son thing, and he's like throwing his axe to like the world snake or whatever that thing is. I was like, oh man, it's like us and our sons going off to kill giant snakes.
There you go.
Yeah. Anything stand out to you by looking at any of those? Any games in particular that you're like,
oh man, yeah, that's good. I'm excited for a lot of games. I think it's interesting. I think Microsoft had a strong conference. Like I saw the conference, like I said yesterday. A lot of new games, which is good. I feel like Xbox needed to do that. And the Scorpio looks pretty cool. The Xbox One X is what it's called now. It looks cool. We'll see how it gets into the market, what it does in the market. But a lot of cool games. I think the one game I'm excited for from Xbox is that's exclusive to Xbox, true exclusive to Xbox, is I haven't played Ori, so I want to play the Ori game before the new one comes out.
My daughter saw that trailer for the Ori, the second one, and she was she was excited for it because that was one of the games that we played together, and she was so excited.
Later on we'll be talking about something, a new announcement we have. We'll see if we can do a let's play with you and your daughter again for the second one. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be fun.
For PlayStation, definitely God of War. I think that's going to be an awesome game. But today, Did you watch the Sony conference?
I did.
The zombie game caught my eye. Like, it looks so much better than it did last year.
Was it Days Gone? What was it called?
Not Days Gone. What is it called? See, there's too many zombie games.
There are. The last year's when they showed that one, I was blown away by that one.
Were
because
you?
The amount of zombies that were piling through the doors, and just how they kept going, and it looked like World War Z. I was thoroughly entertained because I felt like I was watching a movie, and the adrenaline's pumping because you're like, oh, I have to be the one that's running away from this horde of zombies.
And today's demo looked good. Like last year, I felt like it was more of a technical demo showing that technology.
Yeah.
But this year it felt like the story and the gameplay. It looks awesome. I was very blown away by that game.
Yeah, last year's I was really taken aback by that one because that was, I think, before I was a PS4 owner, and that one was made it interesting. I didn't know about them closing up with Spider-Man though.
Oh man, I thought that was awesome. I think to an outsider, like especially for you, who's someone who's like brand new to the PS ecosystem, it's like, oh, it's just Spider-Man. But for us, it's like Spider-Man has a long running standing with Sony, but also it's made by the guys who made Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive.
Okay.
So they're like really talented game designers, game devs. And I thought that was cool. I mean, like, I'm very excited for that game. I mean, it's not even tied to the movie, so that's great. So it's its own thing, and I was pretty impressed by it. It looked really cool.
I see. To me, I love how PlayStation the Sony crew knows how to open a show, because they had the sitar, they had all that music going into, I think it was an Uncharted game.
Uncharted. It's kind of like a spin-off Uncharted.
Yeah,
that they're
I
doing.
love when they do that live music, because it seems
so
like
cool.
And this is at the tail end of the Tonys. I think the Tonys were yesterday, the day before the music awards for musicals, and just to see live music played, and and then you have the. Like last year, Sony's was awesome because they had that full orchestra going with the gameplay.
Pretty cool. They know how to put on a show.
Yeah.
I tweeted like a couple minutes before Sony. I was like, everyone else is doing conferences and press conferences, but Sony wants to give you like a show. They want to give you an experience. And I don't know, like the whole thing. I thought they had like some effects going. They had like fire coming out of the stage and.
Yeah,
waterfall.
I saw the
Did you see that waterfall?
Yeah, that smoke waterfall thing. That was cool.
It was kind of cool. It was like, it looked really cool. Like
what I saw on screen really didn't translate to what I saw in the stage and the outside area.
I think Uncharted you got to get through Uncharted, man.
I think I'm on the second one. I'm on the second one.
Oh, the second one. The first one's okay. The second one is really where like they take off.
Okay.
Like Naughty Dog completely begins to like become the best developer in the world.
I was with you when I picked that up at that one Expo Center when you had James and we went and I picked up the Uncharted
like
collection. He was
Get through 2.
He was a little tater.
Get through 3, and then 4 is kind of like the tail end of it, and then the spin-off is coming. So.
And Microsoft's. I really enjoyed Microsoft's conference, and the game that I'm excited for is that Sea of Thieves pirate game.
Oh, dude, that game looks so good, and I
awesome.
I follow a lot of. They're called influencers, like game influencers, like people like YouTube influencers.
Yeah,
and they were saying like Sea of Thieves is a lot of fun. Like it's not just kind of like gimmicky or anything like that. It is a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that one now.
Yeah. You know as well about the whole Rare company and all of the background stuff, and a lot of our childhoods, a lot of our listeners' childhoods know GoldenEye and Diddy Kong Racing and Banjo-Kazooie, all those things. Like a lot of people remember.
Is Sea of Thieves rare, or you're just saying?
No, it's rare.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, when I was watching the demo, I was like, how much of this is like staged versus like is this going to be what everyday gameplay looks like? And it looked really cool. I'm excited.
I think so.
The biggest third-party game I was looked at and was completely blown away was that Anthem game, dude. Oh my goodness.
That one looks
It looks
cool.
like Destiny mixed with Titanfall, mixed with Mass Effect, mixed with I don't even know, like
Iron Man. Iron Man.
It looked incredible, dude. I think Anthem in EA, they really want Destiny really controls that market, that kind of like MMO shooter market, first-person shooter market, and I think that they want in because Destiny, like for us, for the listeners, Destiny is a special game for Derek and I, Derek and me, but and that game has over 20 million players, and I think EA saw that and was like, this is our answer to that.
Because there's an unhappy fan base with Destiny, and they're going to be willing to jump into something.
And it looks amazing, dude. I could not believe the graphics on that game and how much was going on. And
I know. Well, because they were showing. I mean, it was staged, but they were showing the co-op nature of it, where your friends could just jump in and you can kind of just chill and do like this group of 4 people together in this awesome forest that looks like Pandora from Avatar. Like,
yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking about Destiny a little bit. Let's go like a little bit video background for you and I. Like, for you, what was your first system? Like, did your family play together? And like, what were some of your favorite games growing up?
Dude, I think it's really funny that we're doing video games. Like, a lot of listeners are like, video games, like, this has nothing to do with being bad Catholic dad. But for us, it almost has to do almost with everything being a bad Catholic dad. So just letting the listeners know, like, don't skip this episode. Like, you may not be into video games. Or if you're a dad, come on, if you're a dad, like 90%, you're playing video games too. But at a certain extent, you might play like 5 minutes a day. You might play on your phone. You might play like we do, a couple hours a week. You know.
Well, and you might have a kid that wants to play, or you're looking for opportunities to get closer. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk a little bit about games, and we're gonna talk about just a viewpoint as a Catholic dad.
Sure.
And also
we'll connect it all.
How it all is connected. So we got to start in the beginning, though. So give me your stuff.
For me, it starts 1995, 1994. I think I was about 4 or 5 years old. My dad actually bought the OG Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember if he had anything before that, but I feel like Nintendo was the earliest memory I had. And
I wanted that so bad, John.
Man.
I asked Santa for it so many times. I actually sat on his lap and asked him. I looked him in the eye and I asked him for it, and I never got it.
Oh man, it's okay though. It's okay. So yeah, like we were living in Italy in 1994, 1995. I can't even remember. I think I was like 4 or 5, and my dad. I don't even remember. It was just there. Like we had it because I think just. That's my earliest memory of it. And we were playing Mario Bros. And Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird on the Nintendo. It was awesome. Like, and then our cousin or our like a family member or family friend was moving, and he gave us his entire collection of Nintendo games, and I'll always remember my dad.
Oh my gosh!
Picking up Tetris for the first time and being so we played that game like out the wazoo, and so I mean,
your dad would play it with you?
Yeah, my dad would play it with us. Like it was his Nintendo, I'm pretty sure, and he's the one who kind of introduced us to games, and I think he would play a lot of Tetris. I don't know if he was like a hardcore gamer, but then he would kind of just let us do our thing with that system. But and then moving on, like so many more systems that he kind of introduced us to. I don't know how. Do you want more background or like?
Well,
do you
I'm just curious. So like, I mean, you had like, did you guys have like the favorite games then growing up? Because I'm sure you and your brothers played, and then
Yeah.
Up to you, like to this point, like did you have like some experiences with your brothers that was like always stood out to you?
Oh
and
yeah,
then
man.
Growing up, to where you are now.
Definitely, it's just like that whole like entire like it doesn't exist anymore, but the whole entire couch co-op, right? Like being on a couch or being on the floor, in front of your like way too close to your TV, and just passing the controller. Like if someone died, you'd have to pass controller. Like, especially like Mario. Like I remember Mario Bros. Like it's Mario 1 and Mario 3 on the Nintendo, and just playing that. So I think we played the first level over and over again because I just remember like that was the level we played the most. Like we can never get past like the third level or the fourth level. We would always play like 1 and 2 the most because someone would die and it'd be game over. And back in those days, you'd have to start at the very beginning. There was no save file or anything like that. But no, just like growing up, and we eventually got a Sega Genesis. And then we all got Game Boys, and that changed our lives as Pokemon. And then my dad, the last memory I have of my dad playing video games with us is on the PlayStation, when we got the PlayStation for the first time. in like 1997 or 1998 or something like that. He would play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater with us, actually.
Man, your dad sounds awesome.
He found it was weird. He found that game to be super fascinating, and I remember him playing it, and like he would not pass up the controller. I mean, he's my dad, so what am I gonna do?
Yes.
But so no, like yeah. So for me, it's like the biggest thing is like couch co-op with my brothers, and just being able to pass the controller to them back and forth. If we died, someone would have to pass the controller. And then growing up, we had pretty much like all the systems growing up. Like I don't even know how we got them all, but we kept. The only thing we missed was like N64, I believe. I never got an N64.
What?
Until like college, I think, like when it was not even close to being N64 anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were always PlayStation. Like it was PlayStation 1 straight to PS2, and then I think after PS2 I got an Xbox 360. And then I got a PS3 later on down the road. But yeah, so like those are my. How about you, man? Like I know you have like many siblings. Like what was your kind of like?
Yeah.
I only have 2 other siblings. Like you had so many siblings. Like,
yeah, because there's
I think
5 of us. And
yeah, and then you and your brothers, like, or you and your sisters. Like, what was your kind of experience with growing up?
Well, like
game back first system and everything.
My parents, like, we had this old IBM computer that we played. It was like a King Arthur or Arthur something where you type in stuff when you go. And I was like, I loved it. Some of the educational games, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I don't like the learning.
I remember that.
Like, I don't know if it was called Treasure Mountain or something like that.
I think I played that. I think I played something like that. I think I played one that was like biology, like or botanist or something like that. I can't remember.
They tried to trick you into learning things. Like the fun part was when you're going around.
I blocked it out of my memory until this moment, until you reminded me of it. That's so funny.
So I started getting interested in games like that, and then when we went over to my Aunt Debbie's house, my dad's sister, for Christmas, they had an NES and they had Duck Hunt, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And I completely ignored everyone on Christmas. And they're like, Derek, get over here. You know, we're saying prayers, we're eating. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to put down this duck hunting gun. And I was really upset.
Oh man,
and
I play that game.
I was like hooked at that point. My neighbors, some of the old friends that I had back when I went in Catholic school, younger days, they had these systems. I got to play, you know, at my one friend's house, and our next door neighbor had it. And I was playing like the old NES Mario Kart. And I'm like, this is so much fun. I need to try to get this. So that's when I was asking Santa. Santa never got it for me. I waited for years for this. Never happened. And then the one Christmas, I was like, this has to be the Christmas we're getting it. And my brother and I were like, my brother Nathan and I were all like psyched for it. And then we opened our presents, and we both got 2 remote control cars. And my mom was like, you know, you guys can keep your remote control cars, or you could trade that in for a Super NES. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so my brother and I conversed, and we traded it in to get the Super NES. We were so excited. And the cool thing, one of my favorite bonding memories with my brother is that we both had chickenpox at the same exact time. And we spent just that whole week playing that Super Mario Brothers, the first one that came out on Super NES. And that was such a great bonding time. And then from there on, I just loved the Super Nintendo. We'd always try to figure out ways to have our mom let us play it, and we'd have to do chores, and it was tricky. But I got involved in the Donkey Kong Country tournament at Blockbuster Video. For our younger listeners, it's like Netflix except like real. Like you can walk around and see movies and pick them out and rent them. So Blockbuster was very near and dear to my heart. I entered into that tournament. I won it. I got a year.
Such a great story.
I got a year worth of free rentals, which was so much fun. I had a little card that I could scan and get as many movies and video game rentals as I wanted. And I got my picture up in the Blockbuster. It was awesome. And
dude, that is awesome.
To this day, my little certificate of achievement is right next to my degree, near my psychology degree.
Wait, you still have that thing like close?
I have it, man. I love it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
It's one of my it's one of my Horcruxes, man. One of my Horcruxes. And then I was saving up my money for Nintendo 64, and we got that, and that was awesome. I had to walk so many ponies. My family had a party pony business. We had to walk so many ponies.
Yeah.
And got the money, and like I was hooked on that. Later got my wife, our first Christmas together, she got me an Xbox 360. And then
dude,
from there,
we're going through it, man. That's awesome. Like for me, I remember saving up, not even saving up, like getting my, I don't remember how old I was. I think it was the year 2000 or 2001. It was my birthday, and I got like a couple $100 for my birthday. And next day I was like, Dad, can we please go to Best Buy? I want to buy a PlayStation 2. I got the PS2. I can only afford one game, and so like I had to, get more later. And then I remember my dad promised me if I get like straight A's in 2005. When did the Xbox 360 come out? 2005?
Yeah, I think it was 5.
So 2005, or 2006. So it come out November 2006, end of the year. My dad was like, okay, if you get straight A's, I get you a 360. And then I got straight A's, got me a 360.
Dude,
so that was
nice.
and then I think my dad wanted a Blu-ray player, and the cheapest Blu-ray player at the time in 2007 was a PS3, because I think Blu-ray players were like $1,000.
Yeah, man, they were
at that time. It was crazy. Now Blu-ray players are like $90, $80, $70. So we got a PS3, and then my favorite memory though, and I have to say this memory before we move on. Sorry, Derek. Is for Christmas in 2002 or 2003, all three systems were out: the PS2, the Xbox original. I don't want to say Xbox One. Sorry, and the GameCube were out. And my parents had asked all three of my brothers. They were like, "Hey, if you were to want a system, what would you want? Do you want an Xbox or a GameCube?" Because we already had a PS2 at the point. And we were like, definitely GameCube. Like, we love Nintendo. And my parents were like, okay. They went out Christmas shopping, and we kind of knew they got a GameCube. So that Christmas night, we had a family party. Our whole family was over. We have this cousin who's pretty much like our third brother, our other brother. And he was like, we told him that we think that our parents got us a GameCube. And we kept bugging my parents, like, we want it, like, where is it?
Gosh.
And like, we couldn't wait. We were like so excited that my parents might have gotten us this brand new system that had just came out like a month before. I think Xbox came out in like November, and then GameCube came out around the same time as well. Like they were like the same month or something like that. And so we scavenged the entire house, Derek, like, for it.
Oh my god!
And we were looking everywhere, like all the hiding spots my parents would usually put things in, their room. And
You're so bad, man. That's
this is during a party too, so like I don't think they care at this point. And so we go to the garage, and we're like scavenging through the garage, and we're like we were literally about to give up. And my cousin sits on top of this cooler, this like the portable cooler that you would bring to like a picnic or like you would have at a party. And he sits on it, and he hears something. He kind of like shakes it as he sits on it, and he's like, and we all looked at each other. And we had that look, and it was almost like opening a chest up in Zelda. That and like that light coming out of that chest, or that's at least my memories recalls. And we found it, and we were like going crazy. We all yelled. We all ran around the house. My parents they weren't even that mad. They were like, "All right, there you go, Merry Christmas." But it was just so funny, like that happened.
Oh, that is. I mean, if I was your parents, man, I'd be so upset at you. I'd be like, "What are you doing, man?"
The funny thing is, like, they didn't get us any games, so we like stared at it for an entire night.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. Like, enjoy your system, man.
Yeah,
because we. Oh, that's so funny.
We had to use our Christmas money the next day to go out and buy Super Smash Brothers Melee, and it was so good.
Well, when I bought my Nintendo 64, it took me forever to save up for it, and when I did it, I didn't have enough money to buy a game, so I could only rent one at Blockbuster, and the only thing they had was Pilot Wing 64. They didn't have Super Mario, and I remember having such buyer's remorse. That was the first time I ever experienced it in my life, where I was devastated. I'm like, this took me months and months of saving to get this. It was like, I don't know, what was it, $249 or $349 or something like that. And I was so remorseful. I was like, this game is terrible, and I was so upset. It took me a while to kind of come back to it, but yeah, that's cool. You had a lot of systems. Like, we had the GameCube. Yeah, we had the 64.
Oh, GameCube is so good. It's so underrated.
Yeah,
I love that. It's a little system.
Yeah, no, they had some good stuff on it. And then this 360, the Xbox One, and now the PS4. So yeah, dude. So favorite games of all time, like all this stuff.
We're going there already, dude.
I just want to hear, because we're gonna jump, but I just want to hear it.
Okay. All right. Real quick.
You don't have to give your number one. Go ahead.
Okay. Favorite games of all time. I think you said 5, so I'll just give 5 because that's what I thought of. I think these games are influential to my life. I mean, I these are games I keep going back to. Anyway, so number 1 is Metal Gear Solid, the original one on PlayStation. That was like the movie, the first time I ever thought that video games could be more than just video games. Like at that point, we had Mario and Tetris and all these games and stuff like that. Top down 16-bit games, but Metal Gear was the first to deliver like cutscenes and talking and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm gonna keep moving on. Shovel Knight, which is kind of a newer game, it brings me back to the NES days. Zelda Wind Waker is my favorite one. That one's on GameCube. And then a Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 9, JRPG. Wow, yeah. Japanese role-playing game, one of my favorite ones of all time. And then a brand new one, or not a brand new one, but a newer one in the last couple of years that I can't stop thinking about this game sometimes. And that means it was a really good game and it had an impact on me more than a lot of other games. So I'm going to go with The Last of Us. I thought that game was, like, if you haven't experienced that game and, you have a PlayStation 4 or a PS3, you got to experience that game.
Yeah. No, that's a good list, man. There's some good classics in there. Like, for me, I definitely throw Mario Kart 64. Had so many great memories with that game in my family. Like, my cousins, everyone would play that. Another one is Halo 3. That one was so much fun. Like, to go into tournaments for that. So good. And just, like, how much they had in that. That was some good memories. It was, like, one of the first games that Bethany had bought for me as well. And then... definitely love Warcraft 3 on the PC. And
do you?
The real-time strategy.
I would have never picked you for that one.
My siblings, we've played that one against each other so many times. All 4 of us would play against each other. It was awesome. We love that game. And then, to keep it short, Destiny is definitely one of...
Oh, why didn't I put that one? I got to put that one up.
Destiny is one of the best games that I've ever played. And
I think that's my number 1. I'm putting that as my number 1.
Just an underdog coming out there.
It's my number 1. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time with it, but that game is so special to me. You know what I mean? Like, I think the memories that I'll have of that game I'll take to my deathbed, dude.
Oh, yes.
So good.
I know. And see, that was a good game where I was able to actually share with, your clan, and I got to, kill some bosses with you with that. So that was really cool. But my favorite game of all time is the whole series, but most importantly, the first BioShock game. All of them I love so much. The first BioShock, to me, it goes beyond what video games are, and it's more of like a movie and experience that you have to go through. So
yeah, I think that's a solid list, man. I think your BioShock is my Last of Us. Like like that game like is a movie. It's basically playing a movie.
Yeah. And that goes into like, because one thing I hear this from time to time, and I see people talking about it where people are like, "Oh, wasting your time playing video games. Why the heck do you enjoy that? You just, and I think a lot of people are thinking of like the way games used to be, but why are some reasons that you love games, and are they a waste of time, I guess is a question.
Great question. Like for me, I think it's grown over the years. I think as a kid growing up, video games, I love the games because they took me to worlds that I could never go to, that I could never do in real life. But growing up now, like through my years of growing up and being a teenager, going to college, and even being an adult, and now husband and a father playing video games now. It's so much. The reasons are so much different now. For me, why I love games now is because, still that factor of I can be something I probably could never aspire to be, like a superhero or a hero saving the world or something like that. But I think for me, it's the community and it's everything about video games that is fun. I think like just from hearing about games and reading up about games and being able to just listen to the actual story of how the game got made. Like there's so many games that have awesome stories of how they're made, or their troubling times of being made and the stress of them being made. But also just like for me now, it's like it's got to be the community of just gamers. Just having those memories of. I think that's why Destiny is so special to me, because Destiny is really that first game where it took me, a single-player person who hated playing with other people, and made me love playing with other people now. And that's how I think now. It's like, I know it's weird to say now, but it's like, I don't like playing games by myself anymore. Like, I like playing stories by myself, but I don't like playing games by myself. I want to experience them with other people and talk about them and have that kind of gut reaction as soon as we finish like beating a boss that took us 3 hours to beat. You know, I think that's why I love games, just the way they bring people together. That's really why I love games now.
Yeah.
The way they bring people together.
I agree with what you're saying. One of the things that really I enjoy with games, I am so competitive. Like, I love games. It doesn't matter what it is. I love Risk. I love I love whatever it is to just compete. And video games give this element of like, I get to compete, and I love my brothers, and even more so, I love competing against them. And my brothers live in New York, and I get to play online games on the same team with them against other people and also against them. And this is great for twofold. First of all, you get to hone that competitive spirit that you have. And then second of all, I get to joke around and talk with my brothers. Like, technology is amazing because I'm in Virginia and they're in New York, and we're seamlessly playing this game and we're chatting, and it feels like I'm there with them. And if I didn't have that technology, I wouldn't have feeling that close to my family. Like, I can call them on the phone, but it's something about doing something and like talking at the same time. And it's the same thing you said, the community is fantastic. It just, that competitive nature, just using your creativity on stuff. And I agree, like learning about how the games are made. There's a great film on Netflix called The Indie Game or Indie Film or something like that. And it follows the independent developers and within their families, like how they went to make a successful video game. And that was really cool. Also, The King of Kong. Have you ever seen that movie? It's a documentary on the best Donkey Kong player, like the original arcade.
No, I don't think I've ever seen
I
that
highly recommend that one. We bought that one. That one is incredible. It's the story of this dad with his family, and he's trying to be the best at something. And, you know, he's a musician, but he wanted to be the best at something. And it's him against this one professional gamer. And it's so old school and it's so awesome. And I highly recommend it. The King of Kong. It's really awesome. But yeah, the games are so much fun to just, for everything you said, community and like adding the competition and stuff like that. And I've talked to people, like some of my friends, I'll be mentioning, you know, like, oh, do you play any games? They're like, oh no, I don't have time for games. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they go on to tell me how they have binge watched all these shows on Hulu and Netflix. I'm like, oh, that's cool that you and your wife get to sit down and watch it. He's like, oh no, my wife doesn't want to watch them. I'm like, well, you're saying it's a waste of time for me, but man, dude, you're like, they're telling me like, have you seen this show? Have you seen this show? I'm like, no, man. How many seasons are there? Oh, 5. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. And you know, everyone has like their kind of like little entertainment thing that they like sharing with the community. You know, some people have TV shows and sports and things. And
yeah,
this is like one of those things, like I know with you especially, like it's fun to chat about these things and like, you know, just kind of be in that world where you get to work together and accomplish something with complete strangers. And when we've played Destiny, sometimes you have to play with random people from Australia or England, and it's about working together. and there are language barriers. You and I have gone through that where you talk with
there are also like brain barriers too, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like
there really is. And I've had so many good laughs with you just
trying
to work through those things like you were talking about, beating a boss and working through with random people. There is some satisfaction about having a bunch of strangers come together and accomplish a very difficult task together because of communication. It's fantastic.
And I was going to say, like, you were saying, like, you know, having a conversation about video games is great too. But like, a little known fact, like Derek and I met at we already talked about this before. Derek and I met at a youth ministry seminar. But it was video games that were kind of our kickoff to our, like, just having this friendship now, you know?
Yeah. So. No, and I think you can, like, at least for my job, I have to talk to high schoolers. And sometimes, like, when I'm meeting, like, someone, like, in our big group setting and I'm trying to break the ice with people and just say hello, it's awesome because a lot of them know about video games. And it is a way to help with my job to just kind of, like, hi, my name is this. And, like, oh, you've played Halo 5 or, you know, you've played Last of Us. I just recently played that. And then you can kind of have this conversation. So it's been helpful for me. And, you know, the couple things that we want to talk about, and this kind of ties in with that, like Catholics, at least for us, I think we have like the E3 for Catholics, right? And I think it could be broken down into 3 categories. And it might change a little bit, but the one is entertainment, like what we're talking about right now. And Another one is education, and another is evangelism.
Dude, we're I just want to say, we need to trademark that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier, but I said we need to make E3, but the Catholic version of it. Like, I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. Let's do it. We got to trademark it.
That. You can't steal that. We're trademarking it. Bad Catholic Dads.
Ryan, back off. I know you've been listening to us. Back off. Don't take. But so we talked about the entertainment thing. I want us to jump into like the education part of, for Catholic dads, like why this is important. So we talked about entertainment. It's kind of an opportunity for us to work together. Like you and I, as Catholic dads, we can compete with people and we can, have a good time talking and competing and sharing in a community. Education. Is there something that jumps out to you for like education purposes? And it's such a broad topic, but I feel like it could be anything. But do you see that in any gameplay or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Like problem solving, teamwork. I think those are huge things you can find in video games, especially with puzzles. Like I like to play games that have like puzzles in them.
Yes.
They might not be like the core element of them. They could be. There are games that are just straight up puzzle games, but there are also games I like that you have to solve a problem. Like whether it's like, and it's not, it's not there in your face. You have to figure out one thing leads to another thing, and like Destiny, for example, I think we're going to use that game a lot in this episode. The raids, right? Like you have to figure out, there's some parts in there you have to figure out puzzles and stuff like that. Like, what was that one thing? Like we had to unlock the inside of the Siva thing.
Oh yeah, the outbreak,
on certain,
the outbreak prime
platforms.
Wasn't it in binary code or what? It was.
It was in binary code, and we were like using binary code to solve the problem, right? Like, and I even see in real life. Like we recently went to a escape room. Derek, have you ever done an escape room before?
No, I want to so bad. I've seen them. I want to do it.
It is
so
one
bad.
of the most exhilarating, exciting, amazing times you'll ever experience. Like, just you're locked in a room. They don't tell you anything, and you have to solve something. And it's almost like a raid in real life, dude. I kid you not.
No, it has all those elements that.
It has all those elements, and I remember being in there and like we solved it really fast. And there's a couple times I got to solve it, which was really nice. It always feels nice when you're the person solving it. And but I attribute that to video games, dude. Like real talk. Like I was in there and I'm like video games help. I'm seeing this through these lens. Like I'm playing a video game. Like, okay, like in video games I have to solve it this way. Like what if it works? Oh, hey, it does work. Like and like even just like being patient in real life. Like and just like for me, video games a lot of times help me be more patient in real life because I get to step back a little bit. Like in video games, you can step back and kind of look around and see what you have to do. And that translates to real life. You step back from a problem and kind of like look at everything and then, okay, let's go, So I for me, like it's that problem solving kind of thing. Like
no,
I see that a lot in real life.
Yeah.
Translated.
Well, exactly. And you look at a lot of games right now that you need like communication. Either it could be Overwatch, it could be something where you need to work with a bunch of people that you haven't probably met and you have to accomplish a goal. That's why escape rooms are exhilarating because you get to use part of your brain and you also you have to use communication. They have to communicate to you as well. And I see this work, it helps me at my job. It helps me in my, where you can try to like, okay, what is the problem here? Let's get to solve it. What do you know? What did you see? Oh, you saw, okay, well, let's kind of, mind meld this and get going. And it's helped a lot just because you have to be on your feet quickly. Cause a lot of times with things that it's time based, and so, yeah, like that's awesome. Just the problem solving stuff. How
about for you?
The thing for me, same exact thing with just communication, problem solving. It's so much because you can go to work, you can go to church, but there's a lot of times where part of your brain needs to like fix something or work on a problem and allows you to think outside of the box. And it does incorporate into your life a lot. And I agree with what you said. The other thing that I'm finding out as a dad, and you're going to get to know this, John, and I'm really excited for you.
Oh, yeah.
Video games with my daughter Kateri I was so impressed with her when she started moving the character on the screen, and I was like, this is so awesome. And
that's so great.
Games now are really awesome because the developers are putting in ways for you to play video games with your child, whether having a second controller to help be a guiding character, or you can mod the controls where the dad can be, you can be controlling the jumping and moving, or, the child can be doing, moving the screen or something. And it's cool that you can break that down.
Dude, did you see Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart on Switch?
No, I didn't see that.
They have a kid-friendly mode where, like, no matter what, it'll always be, the cart will always be going the right way. Like,
okay, good.
If they play, they can play. But if, like, a kid like stops or like doesn't know what he's doing, like, it'll always go forward and it'll never go like backwards. Because sometimes kids like will go backwards and stuff like that.
That's a good.
So
I wish I had.
Really awesome.
I wish I had one of those mods for my life, man. That's good. You don't.
Hey,
like,
there
you can
you go.
keep forward progress.
There
The
you
one
go.
thing that I saw, because I got to beat one of the Ninja Turtle side scrollers with my daughter, like one of the old classic one. I think it was
Dude,
Turtles in
awesome.
Time. We beat that. She was so excited. And then we got to play Child of Light and beat that, and Ori and the Blind Forest. And every time when we've done this, and it's so awesome because I get to see her try to solve problems. She'll almost get frustrated. I'm like, no, you got to try it, or here, I'll help you here. And I have seen trust get established through video games where I can apply it to real life. For example, her riding her bike. She just accomplished riding her bike, 2 wheels. And the same process that we went through with video games, she learned to trust me and like, look, I'm here to help you. And I'm like, you have to do this. You have to trust me here. And because of her effort to accomplish a goal in a video game, she knew that she can trust her dad with helping her in a real life situation. And she accomplished it. And I see that smile of accomplishment. And as a dad, I felt so proud, not only of seeing her beat a game where it took problem solving and she can rely on me for help, but I see her accomplishing something. And I have to thank games for that ability for my daughter to help ride her bike, because she got the confidence and there was difficulties. She looked for guidance and she was able to do it. So education.
That's awesome, man. That sounds so great.
Yeah. And I'm so excited
so
for you,
good.
John, because once your son, like, you're going to be a great teacher for that. And
Dude, today, like,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean, because it's going to be awesome for you to do this stuff, because you get to see, you kind of get frustrated sometimes because you're like, no, just turn that way or open that door. It's right
Sure.
there. But
What are you doing?
Exactly. But you learn patience. You have to just,
Oh
breathe.
yeah, patience.
Yeah.
Like today, my son and I, like, he's only like 15, 16 months now, and I got to sit him down on my lap, and he was like watching that we were watching E3 together, and I was like, son, this is your first of many E3s, and we were watching that Microsoft game with the fox or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was Bad Conquerors, by the way. I was like,
it
Bad
looked it.
Conquerors, no.
With
But
the
it wasn't. It
orange-
wasn't. But he was so intrigued by it because
Yeah.
it was like very cartoony. But I was like, I'm so excited to show you this world, and it might not be as much as Daddy plays, but hey, like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to just like show you this, because it's a passion, really. Like,
Yeah.
it's a hobby and it's a passion at the same
Yeah.
time.
No, and to have that, like you talked about, couch co-op where you can sit down, play a game with your loved one or child. It's so awesome, and it's a lot of fun. Again, you've played games like Jackbox TV where you play that on.
We still play it all the time.
It's great to have people over, and again, games have changed so much. They had this stigma like a while ago where it's just like single player, whatever, and now it's become more of a community-based social thing.
Sure.
The other education thing, my wife and I beat one of the Halo games together, co-op, and then we beat Fable 2.
What?
And
Bethany, you play video games?
Yeah,
Let's go.
We did co-op.
Get on her level, Fatima.
We did co-op for a couple games together, and I was so proud of her to get through it because, one of our things is the first time I ever heard my wife swear was when I beat her at Mario Kart, and
Nice. I remember
and
this,
it wasn't
yeah.
really a swear word, but it was really funny, and she is so competitive, and sometimes we get to play these kind of games together, and it's fun to have that kind of just time with your spouse to just goofing around playing video games. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
dude.
I mean, I highly recommend it to
We gotta
get
get
through
a
co-op game with your spouse. It's really awesome.
Yeah, we got to get a let's play of our wives and us playing Mario Kart, because last year my wife we were playing Mario Kart. I'd be like, hey, you want to play Mario Kart? And like she likes Mario Kart a lot, and like she's so competitive with it. That'd be so much fun.
That would be that would be that would be great.
There we go.
And the last E that I think we want to talk about here, because we talked about entertainment, we talked about education, evangelism and glorifying God. And I just wanted to, like, it's so funny because so many people are just like, oh, I'm playing video games, I'm talking with other people, I can kind of put God on the side because I'm in a digital world and it doesn't really affect anything.
Right.
And I was asked to present at the diocesan rally, I think 2014, and I gave a list of topics that I can speak on, and they picked the one about video game, like God and video games.
Dude, we got to get back on that. Bad Catholic dads. Like,
I know.
Someone call Kevin Boley and let him know.
I know, dude. I was so happy to be picked for that. And when I was
That's great.
I was giving the presentation, and I was surprised. There is a desire to learn how to glorify God through these, just different forms of entertainment. And it was so great because there was like standing room only in there, and it was cool to give this talk. And the one thing that I focused on was a scripture verse that always popped up to me when I think about video games and everything. It's 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. And it says, whether then you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. And that whatever you do is like, you don't turn and put away God for that opportunity. Just like, I need to chill and I need to shoot people online. That's not what it's about, because you hear people, swearing online and using the Lord's name. And it upsets me. And a while back when we started Halo 3, I wanted to start a Catholic group that played video games together. And I had a Catholic gamer tag. It was like Roman Catholic or something like that. And John, I thought I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to have a whole team of Catholic people to, and it's going to be great. And oh my goodness, I got so much hate mail on, through the direct messaging.
There we go.
It was insane. And it was from everything saying like, God doesn't exist to like, why do you worship, a faith where priests, assault children and it was nonstop. And for every maybe like 25 negative comments I would maybe get one, saying, oh man, I really appreciate what you're doing. It was mostly just people just reaching out and hating on. And I was like, oh man. So that was really difficult to go through. And, I've done that a few times where I've been online and be like, dude, like, use a different word, man, please. Lord's name. And a lot of people were like, now I found out, now that the community has gotten a little bit older, people kind of respect each other a little bit more than they used to. It's really weird. It's changed. And, that's like, I don't know. I think it's important that whatever we're doing, we're holding ourselves accountable. Because it's on TV or something doesn't mean it's okay. So we should have a way to fast forward stuff that is, going to affect us negatively in our morals. And then the same thing with games. Like, it's good to compete and it's good to like work together, but we got to hold ourselves accountable for how we're saying things, or, is what we're doing helping glorify God and strengthening the community. Did you have any thoughts, John, on like evangelizing and like glorifying God through games?
A couple thoughts, I guess. Like for me, dude, I struggle with this, bro. Like, I'm going to be real right now. Like, before I got, it's really, to be honest with you, it kind of is destiny. Like before, pre-2014 maybe, I felt like I was good about my cursing. Like, I'm not going to lie, like I curse sometimes,
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of us do, John. I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But like it's something that like I am struggling with, right? Like,
yeah.
And so video games don't help that struggle. Like, to be honest with you, because that and driving. Let's be real.
I'm right on board with you with the driving.
Not there. No, but like, I remember like being so like growing up, I being a teenager, like what's the word I'm looking for? Before I like found my faith again, like I was struggling with cursing. Like, it would just be in my vocabulary, my vernacular, And I got good with it pre-2014, and then like you're right, like people online just like it's part of their vocabulary nowadays, and like everyone curses. It would be rare to find a game online multiplayer where someone wasn't cursing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just being kind of around that a lot of the times, and I love my friends. Like trust me, like I love my friends so much, but it's just part of their language, you know, it's part of their vocabulary. And playing Destiny on PS4, we had this tight group of clan members, and they would just be cursing like a lot. And I'm not blaming them, but just being around it, you kind of just pick it up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I just found myself picking it up and like saying it like online and like cursing every time I get killed or whatever, and like it's just more and more and more, and then more and more, and then it kind of just seeps into your real life too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just like, even like when driving, like it just seeps into driving, you know.
Yeah.
Or seeps into, oh, I stubbed my toe, blah 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 blah, you know. And so for me, like I struggle with it, and it wasn't even until recently, maybe like this past year, where I've become more aware of it. And just like, and even when I was playing Destiny with those guys, like me being a Catholic, me being, you know, someone who's a practicing Catholic, like the one thing that I want to just keep in my mind as much as I can is, if someone was listening to you play online, you know, even a multiplayer game such as Destiny, like could they tell you're Catholic, or could they tell you're a Christian by your words, you know?
Yeah. And
for me, it's like, no, definitely not. I'm like the opposite, you know, when in real life I'm like a practicing Catholic. I love my faith, and it's like you said, dude, like everything we do, we have to glorify God. And for me, it means everything, like video games too, you know. I said last week on this podcast, like God wants to be everywhere. He doesn't just want to be in churches or in the tabernacle. He wants to be in your everyday life. He wants to be on podcasts. He wants to be on YouTube. He wants to be in video games, right? And so for me, like I struggle with that, you know, and I've become more aware of it, and I'm trying to be better about it. Hopefully I can be better about that. Like anytime, Derek, we're playing games together, you hear me, just kind of send me a message like, hey, like get back together, you know. But yeah, no, like I completely agree with you. Like I believe that, you know, if someone is listening to you, or you're playing a game with someone, and even if you get those bad messages, like those are opportunities of evangelization, you know? Or those good messages of like thank you, you know. But yeah, no, I think that's where that's at, you know.
I hear you, John, with a lot of what you're saying, man. I get upset too, and it's that competitive thing.
It's the pride. It's like my pride, dude.
It is. It is. And no game makes me more upset than Madden. That game, I get so upset at that game. And you're right. Like we need to like just take a breath, because that's the thing. Hey man, it's just a game. And
it really is. Yeah.
I fall in the same things that you're falling into. So what, like brainstorm right now. What are some practical things that you and I can make sure that like we could text each other.
We could text each other.
Here's another one. We could think about doing this. Every time you curse, it's like either 1 to 10 push-ups, whatever.
Oh, that's like, nice. I like it.
And you know, for me, for the car, which has helped me with my swearing in the car, as I have a rosary on my, my mirror. And so when I say something, like I will do a Hail Mary. I do that, and that's helped me when I'm driving my car to work. Like it's kind of like, oh, I said it, and it's helped me. It has helped me a little bit. But you're right. When you get out of practice and you start hearing like a lot of negative stuff, you start becoming what you're consuming.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is tough. So man, we'll watch out for each other, and I guess we gotta watch out for other people too. But I guess it's just that it's hard to get that competitive edge out, the pride thing. You're right too. Like that's the thing.
It's competitiveness. It's, I'm not gonna say it, but it's like being a guy online, you know, multiplayer games. It's just that competitiveness, that pridefulness that I think the devil wants to seep into for video. There's something about video games that bring out your ultra competitiveness. I think it's because they're not real life. You know what I mean? I mean, you're playing football. You're probably not going to curse someone out in their face, but having a screen in front of you, and I think also, Derek, one of the things we can remember is that there's a human being on the other side of that line. You know what I mean? Like, would you say something to that other human being if they are right in front of you? Probably not, right? Like 9 out of 10 times, there are people who don't care. Like I've seen them. You know, there are people who really don't care. But at the same time, like there is a human being on the other side of the line. We have to remember that. And I think that if one, would we say it to them in their face? Probably not. Or two, just remember like that person's a child of God as well, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a great point, John, because like a lot of the times we're able to be upset and say negative things to people because we're anonymous in a way.
Exactly.
The other thing, like we could totally turn that around, and you could be godly because in a way you are anonymous too, where it's like if they like leave your game or whatever, like it doesn't affect you at all. And at least you can act out your faith with like and it's interesting, without many consequences, it should be easier for us to proclaim the gospel in this virtual world. But for some reason, it's difficult too. But I think that's a good challenge to kind of go forward and just really, like you said, acknowledging that they're a child of God, and are we glorifying God in our actions and the way we're thinking and competing. I think those are two really good things to think about. And since we're kind of on, like, look, there's difficulties with being a Catholic in gaming, and as a dad, man, there's difficulties with gaming too, because I know for me, like, I can't play like I used to.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Because,
so many dads are struggling with this.
I mean,
like,
everyone understands this.
I never believed it, Derek. To be honest with you, dude, I never believed it. Like, I never thought, like, every time I heard all my dad friends go, dude, I don't even play. Like, I had so many dad friends who were like hardcore gamers as like I was, that's even funny that I'm saying I was, dude. And like, they kept telling me like, oh, I don't really have time for video games anymore. Like, I want to, but I don't have time. Mm-hmm. I can't play Destiny because it's just too much of a time sink or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I remember before I was dad just being like, I'm never going to be that dad. Never going to be that dad. I'm never going to let this go. And little did I know, man, that's crazy.
It does. And that's the thing. Like, you still want to play, and you're going to try to find opportunities, but it's tough, man. Like, I used to love Gears of War and the Horde mode. Forget it now, because you can't, there's no pause button on some of this live gaming stuff. Like, you can't pause it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's so tough. And even Overwatch, if I'm like taking it, like if I'm playing at night and my kids are asleep, and you know, when I go to help him when he's crying, I'm like, hey, it's okay, go to bed. By the time I come back, it's like, you've been booted for inactivity. I'm like, well, what's the point now? Like, it's just
right.
like, you know, because the games now are smart. They're not going to let you just get experience for not doing anything. So they're like, you're kicked out of the party. So that's tough, man. And that's where I agree with you. Like, I am playing less and less. And now, like, I don't know, I'm going to be playing at times when like my kids are napping and sleeping, or I might be playing a game with them, but like, I'm watching these E3s. I'm like, that game looks awesome, but I know I'm not going to be able to play that. So you have to pick and choose which games you're like, okay, I can maybe get one, and it'll probably be that one. So, yeah, what else? Like, anything else, like, is just challenging as a dad?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just like, well, yeah, just finding the time and the balance to play video games. For me, it's just been trying to find the sweet spot, you know, nap time especially, like, or like when James is playing something and Lucy's sleeping, you know, I'll just like, oh, let me just do something real quick, you know. That's like, I have no time to play, like, it's impossible. Or like nighttime, like, I'll try to play during nighttime. The other thing that I have been more aware of is my struggles of, like, it goes along with not finding time. It's like, okay, would I rather go do something productive or go out or like experience something that, or sit on my couch and play video games, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of my biggest struggle right now, is like, especially with having kids and them getting bigger and older, is like, my son is like super mobile. So he wants to do a lot of things now. He's always exploring and stuff like that. And I want to be there, and I want to do as much as I can to just be there for him and like experience things with him. And, but I feel like video games get in the way of that sometimes, because I know I want to play something, or something that just come out. No. And it's tough. And like, my question to you is like, the one thing I'm scared of and like even nervous about growing up is just, how do I like have more kids, but also how they get older and want to experience them and not let video games get in the way. You know what I mean? Like, like you're about to have your fourth kid now, and like I'm so still surprised you're playing video games. You know, as much as you play, and I admire you for it, and I love, you know, that's awesome. But like, how do you find the balance, you know, of it all?
I've been realizing, like, lately, just when I'm putting my kids to bed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm looking at, like, my kids' legs are so long now, like, and just these random things, like, wow, they're getting huge fast, and like, time, regardless of what you're doing, goes fast, you know, and I'm really like monitoring how I'm doing now, like, with just like you said, getting time. Like, I'm a homeowner and I have a backyard and stuff like that, and I'm out here with my kids a lot, and I'm tending to the yard, and before you know it, like, you're working and you don't have time to play stuff sometimes. Now, there's great times at night, like late at night, like, I'll play games, or like if I want to chat with my brother about something, I'll either talk to him on the phone or I'll play a game and we'll chat while we're playing. But it hasn't been like our systems are really hooked up to our TV, like because we're watching our Blu-ray through our systems now. So like I feel like the consoles themselves are turning into a way that you can experience things more as a family. It's not just playing video games. Like we play our music, we play YouTube through it. We do a lot of things through our systems. But you know, it's tough, man. And I'm playing less and less. And you know what? I feel fulfilled when I'm out playing with my kids, when I'm playing music, when, you know, we're going out for dinner and doing things. But there are times where gaming is fun and a nice relax.
Yeah,
right?
to get away from your kids,
I mean,
right? Like
exactly, to get away from your kids. But when they're when they're sleeping, when it's a rainy day, you know, maybe like my wife just recently had a pedicure outing with my daughter, you know, and it's just times like that where you can do stuff. Another opportunity, if you're practicing NFP, video games is a great kind of like get away from stuff. So like
it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're like, oh, there's only one, you know, there's only one thing that fulfills me right now. No, I'm kidding.
You're like taking it out on people online. That's where the anger comes from.
That's where all the cursing comes from, Derek.
Yeah, that's what it is. See, I mean, so there's times where you can play it, and I am thankful for the opportunities that I do get to play it. But as you go on, like you're going to be a homeowner, your kids are getting older, you're going to see like it kind of goes on the wayside a little bit, and you just have to find some of those moments you can, which is nice, a nice relaxer. But again, you can do a lot of things. Like you can read the books that are in our book club. You know, you can watch some of the movies we've had discussions on. Like, there's a lot of ways to entertain yourself and with loved ones too involved.
Definitely.
But I'm thankful, John, for the times that I've been able to play video games with you and other people. I've had a blast, man.
It's only gonna get better.
I don't regret them.
Destiny 2 coming around the corner.
So, dude, let's talk about our next venture into like the Bad Catholic Dads thing.
Yeah.
Can you just
Sure.
describe so the idea?
So Derek and I had this thought, right? Like Bad Catholic Dads, it started off as a podcast, and we're growing a little bit, right? Like there's many people who listen to this show, but also like we're just trying to figure out how can we be more personable? How can you, the listener, get more of us? Not that we're conceited or we think that you like more of us, but more of like how can we show the fun side of us? How can we show what we like, what our passions are outside of podcasting? So Derek and I had this idea of maybe doing like a Let's Play series. I know Let's Plays are huge online. A lot of people watch a lot of Let's Plays. Like a Let's Play is basically watching someone play a video game. But we wanted to make it kind of fun and just do kind of like a series with you guys. Maybe play video games with you, or Derek and I will play video games with each other. Or we'll play with our kids, or Derek will play with his kids. I'll have to wait a couple years for that one. But just having like this new venture of, we just want to show kind of this passion of ours, which is video games, but also maybe have a certain like Catholic topic we can talk about while we're playing video games, or kind of have a talk on faith. Just this positivity that we can do, playing video games, because we know there's many toxic things that are happening in video games nowadays, but just kind of finding this fun but also positive way to glorify God through us playing video games. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. And like the one thing too is like, look, if you guys have a system or something, we're all up for challenges, man. We're issuing challenges. 1v1 us, bro. Like, come at John, come at me.
Wow.
We're ready. Like, so if there's a game, if you play Madden, if you play Overwatch, if there's something that you're interested in, it'd be cool to have, like we talked about before, a community.
Bad Catholic Dad, like gaming community or whatever. We need to make that happen. Yeah. That's so cool.
Like, it would be fun to just, as dads, if we can find a time where our kids are asleep, it's a rainy day, you're practicing NFP, you're like, dude, let's go online and, like, dominate the competition. Let us know, man. We're issuing out challenges, man. We'll take on anybody. And if you win, I don't know, we'll, like, send you a pizza or a high five.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
We'll figure out something. Yeah, it'll be fun. So any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
I'm excited. I think with our new kind of like, project that we're going to do with Let's Plays or playing video games with the community, the Bad Catholic Dad community, I think it's going to be fun. I think if you guys play video games, or even if you don't and you have a system and maybe you were thinking about getting back into it, hit us up on Twitter and we'll set something up. Maybe we can play something that we all can play, whether it be Jackbox Party. Like, you can play Jackbox Party with people online too. And you can also, or it's Destiny or it's Gears of War 4. I need someone to play Gears of War 4 with me. It's just sitting on my shelf. I want to play it. But let's do it.
No, that would be fun. I mean, even the Jackbox TV, to have some spouses, like, it would be fun at a time just to have the Catholic community just play like one of those games online. It'd be really fun.
Also, we need a name for it.
Yes.
We need a name.
Yeah. So look, if you're the listener, you have a good name for it, send it out to us.
We have a couple names, but we're open to suggestions.
Yeah. We're also looking for our next book for our book club, for our Bad Catholic Dad book club discussion. So if you have any of those, let us know. But again, John, where can they find us online for any of those games?
What do you mean?
You have gamer tag,
tags.
man,
okay.
for Xbox One.
Oh, no, I got to start with PS4. A PS4, you can play. I do most of my gaming on PS4, which is Agent Zero. I know it's kind of lame. Long story. I'll tell it to you if you play with us. Agent, Agent, I have two I's, so Agent, I, and then Zero, spell it out, Zero, and then end it with the I. So Agent I, Zero, I. And then on Xbox, I got Bad Catholic Dad. So it's just Bad Catholic Dad. I thought I was going to do Agent Zero again to kind of like have the consistency, but I was like, no. Like, I want to do Bad Catholic Dad. And it was my awareness of just how can I spread the gospel online? Let's have Catholic in the name. And hearing your story, I might regret that now, but we'll see.
Yeah. Although yours says Bad Catholic Dad, so like, yeah.
It also could be like an evangelization moment. Like, oh, you're a bad Catholic. Yeah. Like sometimes I am. But yeah, no. Like, how about you, Derek? Where can people play with you online?
Look, it could be Dirkski on Xbox One, or I think it's Mr. Rogers DJ on PS4. We're gonna link it in our description. I also have a Switch.
Let's play Mario Kart. So.
I don't have that.
We'll get you one.
I have to pay for my kids' teeth.
I'll sell some of my things to get you one. Let's go.
Shout outs and acknowledgments. I have 3.
You go first.
Is that okay? First one is Ryan. I can never say his last name, but he's been tweeting us online and saying he's been listening and stuff like that, and it's so cool to see that. So Ryan, thanks for tweets about Bad Catholic Dads. It's always cool to hear. Another one, I got a text from my friend Mark, and his message said, really enjoyed hearing about circumcision for half an hour. And so that was nice.
That's awesome.
We're just keeping it real, man. We have a broad
authenticity,
audience.
Man. Authenticity.
And the other one is to my wife, Bethany. She listened to our book discussion that we had, the review on Dad is Fat by Jim Gaffigan. And she said that she really loved how we did it. She thought we were just going to just talk about the book, but she didn't know we were going to incorporate like how it is for us to be Catholic and what we're getting from it on that kind of theological and spiritual level. And she said she really appreciated that, and it was a good surprise for her. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. So, I think other people, I saw some other tweets and messages on Instagram saying they enjoyed the review and stuff. So that was cool to hear that kind of feedback.
Yeah, I thought it was
like,
awesome.
Okay,
awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So those were mine.
Couple shots this week. I talked to a couple people online from other kind of content creators. The first one is from the guys called This Catholic Life Podcast. Their focus is on living Catholic life and what you're doing to make disciples, or what they're doing in their Catholic lives. How they're living it. Really cool dudes. I listened to their first episode to kind of get a gist on who they are, because they asked us to be on their podcast, and I think we're gonna have Nick Longo. I think that's how you spell his name, or say his name. We're gonna have him on our podcast in a couple, hopefully a week or 2 weeks or something like that, as a special guest. But no, their podcast is pretty good. I was pretty impressed by it. So shout out to those guys. And then I found this guy online. Speaking of a gaming episode, his name is That Catholic Gamer Dude, and
we need to talk to this guy.
We were supposed to have him this week, Derek, for the E3 episode. Oh, okay. But he said he's pretty busy. He's a brand new father. So he just had, I think, a first daughter maybe in the past couple weeks. So he's been super busy.
Awesome. Congratulations.
But I'm talking to him. I'm going to try to get him on here to do some sort of episode on his life, but also kind of talk video games with him as well. But check out his videos, youtube.com/thatcatholicgamerdude. Awesome. He has pretty awesome videos. He really does try to like spread Christ through his videos and through video games. He talks about like one of my favorite videos he does is he talks about morality and video games, like making choices, bad or good choices, like, and how that affects, is that a sin or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's pretty good. So shout out to those guys. And
awesome.
Please leave us a review. No new reviews on iTunes since April. Please leave us a review. We would truly appreciate it if you're listening to the show. So
yeah, and you could find us on SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, everything. And if check us out on Patreon if you feel so inclined.
It would be awesome. So just support us or help us spread the word of Bad Catholic Dads and our message and our mission. So, yep.
Awesome. Anything else? All right, man. Hey, listeners, thank you so much. Maybe we'll see you online.
Bye, guys.